Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I hope you're all doing well. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. Hello, Keith. It's your Nana Kathleen. I've pissed myself and my radiators need bleeding again. Can you come round, please? Silly. Anyway, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a jovial mood. Hence why I put the picture up of Parag and Andrea. I think it's funny. Listen, it is what it is. There was a sense of inevitability. I don't want to say we, because not everyone, but the majority knew that Summerville was going to go. Yeah, we knew Summerville was going to go. Now, we allowed ourselves, myself included, because I remember doing a stream, regular watchers, I remember doing a stream, and I was talking with Gabe, and I remember saying 25, 30 million, and I got laughed at, and I allowed myself, and I should have stuck to my guns, but I allowed myself to also get carried away with the propaganda that was coming out. Not just from the fans, but also from the football, not directly from the football club, but we were told, nah, we don't need to do business, we are strong, and ultimately, Leeds have bended. Leeds have bended and gone back to the negotiating table with West Ham and negated on their initial demands. Now, we're imagining the initial demands might have been 35, maybe. Look, at the end of the day, Leeds United have negated and allowed themselves to get bent over a barrel a little bit. Because ex-West Ham employee, top tier, number one, says as much. As stated, Leeds have lowered their overall price now, and the deal is on. And it looks like Leeds United are going to get 25 million, I would say, with add-ons that are going to take it up to 30. Which ain't too bad. If we're being honest, it ain't too bad. 30 million, I'd imagine them add-ons are quite achievable. I'm not losing my shit over it. Disappointed, yeah, massively. Because it's 25 million as a starting figure sounds pish. Because a lot of people who were in the chat, we remember having the conversation, because I said 25 million and people were going, well, João Pedro went for 30. And that's fair. Other players have also gone for similar amounts. But I remember, because if you remember, we had a look, we went through championship players that had gone for them amounts. Do you remember? Or was that with Joe Rodon and the centre-back? I think that was Joe Rodon on the centre-back. But yeah, I think, look, it's shit. The fee is shit. Can't get away from that fact. But I've already come to terms with it. I'm not emotional about Summerville going because it's not the same as Gray. I did start to believe. I allowed myself to get carried away with the fanfare. I even started to believe. I mean, the lowest it dropped to was 80%. There's some people who've been 50-50. Some people saying he was staying. The lowest at 80%. 80%. And that was because of West Ham's initial inquiry last week, 10 days ago now, where they went away because they were told no. So what's happened within that time frame for Leeds United to go back to the negotiating table? Well, I'm convinced at this point that Summerville wasn't injured. Leeds United were willing to do business, hence why they didn't want him to get injured in pre-season. Farke made the decision to let him remove. If you have a look, he hasn't started any of our pre-season games. He's not been involved in as much media as, say, you see with Nonto, for example. But then here's another kicker as a fan. I'm worried now about Nonto. And the reason... Because, right, if you are a club that likes the look of Nonto, right, and Leeds United have just sold Summerville for 25 million, starting, I'd imagine. It depends. I think it's 25 million rising to 30. I think that's what we're going to get. But even 25 million stinks. And I understand why people are upset about it. It does stink. Because we've allowed ourselves to get carried away with the notion that we could get 40. Which was always going to be difficult. James Maddison went for 40 people. James Maddison. And he's different gravy. He's different gravy. And I know a lot of people say Romeo Lavia went, but he didn't play in the champ. It's not the same. But James Maddison's different he's in a different stratosphere to where Summerville is right now. Of course, Summerville, you never know, but James Maddison's different gravy, and he's gone straight to a top 6 side. But yeah, we've allowed ourselves, I think, as a fan base, when actual fact, if you actually try and sit back and say, okay, he's a championship player, is 40 million too much? Probably. I know people won't want to hear it, but I did think it'd be more. But then again, it's difficult, isn't it? Because when you actually sit and look in the cold light of day, you're going, is it still shit? 25 million, it's still shit, no matter how much which way we package it. I mean, Dewsbury Hall went for 30 to Chelsea. So, last time I checked, Summerville was player of the season. Do you know what I mean? So, there's that to take into consideration as well. Yeah. Remember we had that debate about, because people were saying, Summerville will be same as Summerville will be same as Gray and all that sort of stuff, but it's just not. English tax and all that sort of stuff, and potential and that not. But yeah, what's frustrating for me, so back to the Nanto situation. If you are a club that likes the look of Nanto, let's say Everton, or another club, Crystal Palace, let's say. If you are looking at Nanto, you see now that Summerville's just gone for 25 million with add-ons, which will probably be achievable. That'll take it up to 30, hopefully. Because 30 million is decent. I can't lie. Get 30 million, if you say 30 million Summerville, 40 million Gray, okay. Okay, although 10 of that was sent straight back, wasn't it? So 30. But you hear what I'm saying. But it's like 70 million on 2 players. Decent, really. But then my point is with the Nanto situation is if you are willing to do a deal for Summerville at 25 plus, what are you willing to do Nanto at? It's a fair conversation to have. And I think the reason Leeds United have sort of negated on what they'd originally probably gone to is because, again, Summerville's probably told them, look, I want to leave. You know, it's West Ham. It's an exciting project. I said it to you earlier, and it is an exciting project with Lopetegui being in the door. You've got Mohamed Kudus, Lucas Paqueta, maybe Fulcrook, a number of players, Jared Bowen. These are top-level players that are going to be playing an exciting, expansive style of football moving forward under Lopetegui, who has previously been Spain manager, Real Madrid manager, managed in the Premier League. You know, he's got a very good CV. Although it didn't work for him at Wolves, he's still got a great CV. So that's enough to... Well, so I get it. I think it's a great move for him and all that sort of stuff. But I think the reason Leeds have... Because the players said, I want to go. No one else is maybe coming in. Right, okay, West Ham, we're willing to do business. We'll reduce it a little bit, 25, Because then what it also does, it gives us time. It does give us time. Sorry. It gives us time now to go and get an adequate replacement. Who is that? We shall see. We're going to do a scouting report tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Provided, obviously, live, something might happen in that time where we have to move things around. But we're going to look at potential replacements for Crysencio Summerville. Maybe coming away from the names that have been bandied about now. I tell you what is quite interesting. I don't know if you've seen this, but Harry Crackling did a little bit on Wacko. I mean, someone could double check this just in case it is bait, but he did put this out, which I mean I'd be all over. Be interesting to see if we go in for another sniff of Jack Clark now. Maybe we'll have a look there, but I just think he'll cost us an absolute bomb. But I think Jack Clark would probably be open to the move. I tell you what I do find funny, though, is the people who were battering Jack Clark when he was here, because they were, and they know who they are, are now saying, yo, man, bring me this king and all that. And I'm a bit like, remember, that's not how it was when he was here. But hey, it is what it is. And this is the mad thing, isn't it? Like, already as well, and I hate when this happens, but it needs to be called out, because I'm already seeing people on Twitter going, yeah, I mean, he's thrown it in the last 10 games, though, isn't he? James is, James cared. And I was like, come on, man. Don't do this. Summerville got like over 20 goals and assists and like crazy numbers. Let's not do this for once. Just appreciate the player for what he is and wish him luck. Because what he hasn't done while he's been here is been a shit about it. He's put the work in. He tried his hardest to get us over the line. Stayed. I mean, didn't we turn down a bid of 20 million from Burnley last season? That's what we're told. You don't know what to believe, do you? But if we did that, we've increased that by 5. Meh. It's a bit mad. We've got subsats, and I've just seen the face. So I have to go and jump ahead. This is how much Leeds will sell Nonto for, says Juan Martinez. Big up, Ashman. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I mean, I do worry about that, though. I do worry about that. Because it's all good and well saying, no, we'll be steadfast. But now Summerville will be used as well, hang on a minute. You want 25 million for Nonto? But you just sold Summerville for 25? That's not happening. Nah, Parag. Wake up. Because he's sleeping. He's sleeping. But Joe, we dropped our price, though we would only sell if the Niners' price was met. Why have they dropped it? Lies? Well, who said that? The fans said this. I also had said it myself. I'm not dissolving myself of any, because we get carried away with it. Because as the window, they're staying. No one's going to meet the price. Not happening. Blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. And even I started to get carried away. But it ain't over till it's over. And the things is, I'm shitting it. I don't know how to articulate it, but the point is, what if someone has another sniff at Rutter? What if someone has a go at Nonto? I still maintain that the squad is better than it was. And we'd said, I think we were all in agreement, if you'd have shut the window today, and that's with Summerville here, even without a left back and an 8, you're going, I'm happy. Now Summerville's going to leave, so you now need a left back and 8 and a Summerville replacement. That's when we start to worry again, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So they need to get the skates on. Because when we bid for Ljubicic last week, I thought we'd have had him in. But we haven't. So, we play on... It's getting... But again, to be honest, the transfer window should shut before the fecking season starts. But that's for another day. Because ideally, you want your business sorted. We're going to be playing games thinking, oh, God, Nonto. What if he starts the season really well? Rutter even. You would hope they wouldn't even do business. But listen, we were told that Leeds need to raise £100 million worth of sales. We're getting close to that. And we were told it were lies. Are we not getting close to that if we do the math? Llorente, Creswell. Who else is on this list? Llorente, Creswell, Rocker, Summerville, Gray. There's other players that have gone. Surely we're at that 100 mil mark. I think we might be. Are we not? And then you look at what we've brought in. And I'm not losing. I'm not. I promise you I'm not. I'm just not being objective. I'm a devil's advocate. Because that, surely, if someone could do the math on outgoings, it's close to 100 now. And we've brought in Lone Rothwell, nothing for your man Cairns. And people keep going, 10 million on the road on, but it's all tied in with that Gray figure. So I won't even, yeah. And then who else is there? There's one more. Bogle, which is not even 5. Probably rise to 7. But it's not much, so maybe they were all right, Maybe they were all right who was telling us all this shit, But 20... We were all going, what is the fee? Make sure the fee is right. And of course, like, naturally, people will not, like, some will say I'm almost too negative or thing, but then also everyone will take everything they read as gospel as well. Do you know, as a perfect example, the Gray situation? Because when Gray says something positive about his move to Spurs, everyone goes, "Say it's Leeds United, he never..." And it's like, come on. We need to read between the lines a little bit, because what will happen over the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll get some noise from Leeds United, be it through the YEP, be it through the Daily Mail, be it through a club announcement that will make it look like Leeds have done well out of this deal. And everyone will go, yeah, see? Told you to wait for the figures. And it's like, well, this is what clubs do, right? Like, no one's going to say, we got, we got the piss taken out of us. We had to go back because Cree wanted to move, and ultimately we had to, knock 10 million or 5 million off the price or whatever. They're not going to say that. Do you know what I mean? And one thing I will say, ultimately, this is a great look for the club in terms of the FFP, PSR stuff, because we paid 1.5 million for Cree, and we've sold him for 25 plus add-ons, which will probably reach 30. And I was just watching Ought to Know Better, and Gilly made a good point of, like, we don't know how that's structured either. There might be a massive wedge of it up front. Maybe that's why originally they couldn't do the deals. They were looking at Jonathan Duran. Duran deal fell through. Right, we've got all this cash here. Let's go back for Summerville and give them that cash now. Because that Duran saga's sorted, and he's having to go back to Villa and all that sort of stuff. So maybe it's a bit of that. It's an interesting one, ain't it? It's an interesting one. Jers Free, you're gonna join me in a sec. I'm gonna just read through some comments. See what's been said. Good luck with Summerville. You along with Gray, you'll both be missed. Yeah. Do you know, this is the funniest thing actually? I put the picture up at the start, but this is just like it stings when you see this stuff, because this is what Leeds United tweeted on the 10th of Feb. Too much talent for one photo, unless you cross my hands with silver, or in this case, bronze. Unless you give me some ginger coins, then there isn't too much talent for one photo. Do you know what I mean? Too much talent for one photo, my ass. Yeah, I'm gutted, but do you know what? I have no ill feeling towards them too. And look, the club, this is a price of not getting promoted and all that. Listen, it is what it is. I still hate the Gray deal, especially when I see him flexing out for Spurs. And yeah, Cree, it was inevitable anyway. I think the Gray one will always sting. But Cree had come to terms with the end of last season, to be honest. So, it's just now we look at the fee and we go... But if we'd have not allowed ourselves to get carried away with, they're not going to sell, and a lot of people, why would the 49ers sell? Nah, these are top business. What are you? No, why would they sell? Our price or do one? And I think we just say these things, we, the fans, and then we get carried away with that. When in actual fact, if you do strip it back and go, right, okay, is 40 million for a championship player that isn't Archie Gray, Jude Bellingham-esque actually viable? Maybe not. So is 25 plus add-ons, achievable add-ons that take you to 30? Let's say we achieve the add-ons and you say we got Summerville for 30 million. We accept that? I think. So I think a lot of the annoyance is because we were expecting a huge fee, because we'd allowed ourselves to expect a huge fee. People will give me the numbers, probably in the chat, but I'm like, João Pedro went for 30. I don't really count Lavia. I'm not counting Gray. I know it's a couple of years past, but Summerville's gone for the same price as Jude Bellingham went for. So when you look at it like that, it's not too bad, is it? Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Let's get to some comments. I don't know. Look, if we replace him, you know, you could get 2 players. Yeah, peekaboo. Exactly. Simon Jones said in the Daily Mail article that we needed 100 million in sales, and I guess he was right. Freeze and loans, he said as well. We have spent a bit of money, but not massive amounts. 28 goals and assists to replace. No, Ryan, you're doing a mad one. You're trying to take, like I seen you put in my comment a little bit later on, this is order. Let's not do that. Try to, just admit they don't fucked up. You know what I mean? You know, where's Gabe at? I'm not taking shots here. Like, I spoke to Gabe earlier on. He said, I want to wait for the official announcement. But, Leeds that. But ultimately, Gabe said 50 million. We had this conversation. I was like, you're never getting 50 million. Oh, but why would they have to sell it? I'm just saying, actually, if we're being realistic, is it that different from, especially if you get 30? Yeah, well, I'm not pissed off that we sold him. I think a lot of the fan base knew that we were selling him. Although my chat at times was wrong. Also, folks, I'm taking apologies in the post, okay? It's not, though, Kilgallen. It's come from Damesh Chef. It's come from... I mean, if you don't believe them, then what are you expecting to look like? Do you think tomorrow it'll be like, no, actually, it's 35? I don't think so. Fee is poor, is it, though? I'm not sure. We'll see. Let's not take the piss here. I love that, actually. Let's not take the piss here. Joe's buthering. No, I don't think. Louis, yeah, I was asking where you were earlier on. Where were you? Where were you? Joe looks stoned. Nah, I'm tired, actually. I went for a Starbucks as well. That's why I worked live earlier on. I went for a Starbucks. I had a caramel macchiato. The fee wasn't inevitable, though. Yeah, well, this is where we, maybe, if we'd have not allowed ourselves to get carried away, it's actually more realistic. Do you reckon or not? Great having someone who negotiates. Alfie. Let me just categorically say, this is wild. This is wild. It's not. Yeah, it's not. We're not doing that. Yeah. Well, Nige, he needs to answer. He is not here. Where is he? But wait for official announcement. But, yeah, I don't know. There you go. I've heard 25 million, including add-ons, yeah. I think that's where it'll be. The problem is we'll never know what's happened. We are speculating. My opinion is 20... No, it won't be 10 million. It won't be 10 million. It'll be 25 to 5. It won't be an extra 10 million. I can't see it, bro. But, again, it's whatever makes you happy, isn't it? Because people read things differently. Like, I put 25 million, like this, and then people are going, it's not actually that, it includes this and it includes that, and it's a bit like, yeah, people will do what they need to do in order to where have you got that, Lee? Where have you got that? Like, if you've got that and you can show me that, then cool. I like that. But yeah, Livramento was 32 million. He's a defender. This is my worry, Vic. This is my worry. Yeah, that's my worry. That if I'm a club, I'm alerted to that. Vic, and I go, wow, they've just done Cree at 25. Let's go slap 20. 15 with add-ons up to 20. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, Joe. We get the fee we demand. Why should we fold like a deck chair at the negotiating table? Well, this is where you have to take everything into consideration. Cree might have said, I would like to leave. He's done everything the right way. The club came out and said if players want to go, he might have said that. And I don't think we can hold him to ransom. Like I've said, it was inevitable he was going to go. He was too good. He was too good to stay for another season in the Championship. He was. Someone was going to take that punt. And it's not even a punt. Someone was going to buy him from the Premier League. And ultimately, Leeds held out for as long as they could. No one's come in. They need to also weigh up their own... Because I did a video this morning on Raksaki. I said the only way Leeds United get Raksaki is if Summerville or Nonto leave. Because he's not leaving Palace to go sit on the bench in the Championship. So he needs to be not guaranteed minutes, but he needs a starting spot. Obviously, he might want to move Southampton, but they don't want to do a deal with Southampton. So I did that, and all that Raksaki talk came out. Similarly, when we were linking Summerville to Brighton, we were linked to Miller. So, like, there's no smoke without fire. Maybe they're looking at options. Okay, Raksaki, yeah, I'd be open to a move. Right, what do we do with Summerville? He wants to leave. We've got 4 weeks left of a window. Can we continue to sit on him and then not get the replacement that we want? Because he might have moved elsewhere. So they have to weigh up all these options. So it's all good and saying, I'm digging my heels in, we want this. But then you have a player who's unhappy, you're losing out on a prospective target that you might want, yet it's not as easy as just going, no. Do you know what I mean? You do, because you're dealing with people as well. So you have to factor that. People wanting 40 million as if that's their money. No, but you can still have an opinion on your football club. Of course you can. Like, that's like saying, oh, he went for 10. Well, it doesn't matter. It's not your money. You know what I mean? I don't think that would come into it. I'm not sure. Maybe you're right. Of any future fee. Maybe. Ryan Powell Higgins says they always have 40 million was never going to happen. Got to remember when the club sets a price that won't go up, it will only come down when other clubs are interested. He did, Georgie. Yeah. He did, man. He did. It was our man Gabe. Palace have already signed Sarr. Okay, fair. Big up to Jer. Let me bring him in as well. Considering we got 40 million, I suppose you can. But listen, I had arguments on this channel. People, and I was going, come on. I was called, you're off your head, you're deluded. And people get upset here, but like, they were never going to be the same price. Just because, and I get shot for saying this, which I don't think it's wild. He's generational, he's great. He's different. He's different. Yeah, smash a like. Listen, we've got 916 watching and 270 likes. You know, let's get that close to 400 likes. We'll get over 1,000 people watching. Big up to you all. My man Joe is with us. I just want to catch up on the comments, Joe. I'll be 2 seconds. Matty C says it's pointless saying the prices are okay, but are they using the money we get or just bits of it? Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. They've got to keep some in as well. Keep some in the bank. You can't bring in all your money and spend it all. Otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere, are you? Do you know what I mean? You have to be a little bit smart with it. This is a thing as well. There's no guarantees we go out and get a winger, Super Joe. There's no guarantees we do that. Jack says cheap. It's not there. We're not. Yeah. This Ryan Kent stuff better not be true, which Nixon thinks it is, but we'll see. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. If we were to sell Summerville for 25 and then go pay something similar to Jack Clark, you're going, we're doing something wrong. I feel like I'm so far behind, so I'll scroll through as we go. But let me bring in the voice of reason, the calming voice within the Leeds United content creation sphere. Although I do know Joe, and I know it's not. I know the angle Joe will take will say it's not confirmed yet, Joe. But no. If it's 25 million, I know you're upset about this.
I said to you earlier on, if it was 25, I'm not happy with that at all. However, there was a man who has sent me a message that we both know, who knows a little bit, apparently, I'm not in the know, and this isn't coming from me, but this person has told me and said it's okay to talk about it, but not mention them, that it's 25 million plus 5.
Yeah.
The 5 relates to appearances, goals, assists, possible trophy related one, which won't happen, but there is European qualification in that as well. He is due for medical at 9 a.m. in Harley Street Medical Facility tomorrow, due to fly out to Florida at 5 to 4, and is currently staying in a hotel in London. And apparently his agency aren't over the moon about this either. It's Cry's wanted the move. He spoke to Lopetegui individually and wanted the move after speaking to him. So it's Cry's told the club, this is what I want. So the club have said, if you want to go, you go. He also said that there could be other ones related to him playing for the Dutch side that could bring the deal totality up to 33, 34, but that would be all inclusive of everything. And I don't think West Ham are going to win a trophy. So knock a few quid off for that and then see where you are. So it could be in around 30. And I think I go back a couple of weeks ago to one of your streams when Gabe was talking about 50 million for the player. And I'd have loved that. I think you said 30, 35, 40 would be probably a realistic fee. And we're probably in that ballpark. The problem with this fee is that it's been publicized as 25. And we talked about it on the Art to Know Better podcast as well. English is not Romano's first language. So when he said his initial tweet was 25 with add-ons, it sounded like it was just 25, including everything. That's been clarified to be 25 plus add-ons. So it may end up going up to 33 million, maybe, but 30 million possibly. And I think the big piece for me on this, and where I'll be okay with this, is I really don't care right now about the fee as long as the replacement is a good enough investment level to balance this out and calm everyone down. I don't think you replace his goals and assists. I think you're bang on the money about it's not going to be necessarily a direct replacement. I think you move Rutter out there and that's that replacement, and you maybe bring in another attacker or 10 or in that position as well. But you were asking about fees. Leeds have roughly brought in about 89 million-ish so far in transfers. They've spent 15 currently. But if you bring into account that Leeds will need to sign a central midfielder of possibly anything up to 8 million, they're going to need a fullback, which they've said they wanted. So it's going to be replaced, a backup fullback, so maybe 2-3 million. And then they're going to need a big outlay on somebody to replace Cry. So up to 20, you're probably looking at about 45 million of a spend in the transfer window, which would make Leeds the highest spenders in the division and the highest in recouping money as well. There's a lot of good stuff from a business perspective. The fees kind of rattled everybody a little bit. I think we all knew he was going.
Do you not think, we allowed ourselves, and I'm including myself in this, to get carried away with the notion that the 49ers will only do a deal at their price, and then we started to go 30, 35, when in actual fact, if we... Look, I laughed earlier on, 25 million, it sounds derisory, but when you actually sit back and think and you go, could we really have expected 40 million? Should we expect that?
His age, maybe, but you do take it, and again, something I said earlier on, people weren't happy selling Calvin Phillips to Man City for close to 45 million quid, and that has turned out to be very good business for Leeds in terms of it's just not worked for him. We don't know if this is going to work for Cry. He could be brilliant there. Lopetegui could get the best out of him. They're spending big money, West Ham are to back Lopetegui. So it might go great for him, but it might not. And he is going, and everyone talks about Smodic's one season wonder. He is going on the back of one season, with glimpses in the Premier League, but they were very much glimpses and cameos. So you could end up in 12 months' time looking back at this going, that wasn't a bad deal. Or you could be looking back at it going, we've had our pants pulled down, that will have to be wait. But the replacement, Joe, is going to be important. But I go back to what you said, and I'm kind of glad, and I agree 100% with you. When you look at it from a business owner's perspective of do we sit on them and wait till the end of the window? And then,
difficult,
or do we just, and I think if they've got a replacement lined up, which hopefully they have, and it might not be any of the players who've been linked to it, maybe it's better to get him gone now and get the player. Because again, the comment about it's not our money, and I come here, I do kind of agree with that statement as well. It's like it's not money that we're going to be spending. It's not going into our bank account, so it doesn't really upset us that much as long as the replacement is a good enough level to push us on and not bring us back. The Ryan Kent thing started as a story, by the way, by some bloke put it on Twitter, and now Alan Nixon's running. If Alan Nixon's right about Smodix, possibly right about Kent, but I don't think he's right about either. We'll wait and see on that. But Ryan Kent's not an option. Right,
no,
he's less than 3 million in valuation. He had disaster of a season last year in Turkey. They want him out. He had a poor season for Rangers the season before he went. He, as a person who watches a lot of Celtic, he never showed up against Celtic. So if you're looking at player playing against a high level opponent, Brian Kent's not your man, and he's long gone from being close to being a player we should look at. So I don't think Leeds will buy a winger. I think they'll buy a 10.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, you're right in what you're saying about the English. It's difficult. What Fabrizio originally said. I mean, he says Summerville to West Ham. Here we go. Deal in place between clubs for package in excess of 25 million with add-ons. So you're like, does that mean the add-ons are included in the 25 or on top of the 25? Yeah. Right. And then Ben Jacobs has done a tweet where, again, his English is his first language. He says, set to join West Ham after a package agreed with Leeds. Fixed fee is around 25 million with add-ons on top of that, which you'd imagine takes us to 30. And if they're achievable, Joe, and if at the end of the season he's achieved them add-ons, and you go, right, you got 30 million for Summerville, I don't think we can complain, really.
But if you look at West Ham bringing in, they're all trying to bring Wan-Bissaka in at the moment as well. And I think Wan-Bissaka is a half decent fullback. I think he's a good fullback. I think Man United ruin players, so I think they get what you got. He looked like he was going to be a Crystal Palace before he moved there. They're going for this year, and they've been in and around the European places. They qualify for the Conference League. Leeds will get a kickback. Boom, there you go. There's the first installment. He scores a couple of goals, gets the double figures. Bang, there's a kickback. More money. If they qualify for Europe, I already said that one. If he gets called up for the Dutch national team, very likely. Bang, more money. So some of those will they win a trophy? No. Not in England. They might win a Conference League.
They won a Conference League, bro. They might win Carabao Cup. Yeah,
they might. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, fair enough. So maybe, and so bang, there's more money. So yeah, I mean, it might add up to being a half decent deal. It's in and around what Championship Players of the Year have pretty much gone for. Benrahma, Gyökeres, they've kind of gone for in and around or slightly less than this kind of money. So it's kind of on par. And you said it as well. Look what Bellingham went for. So. Again, ultimately, the money's not going in your bank account and it's not going in my bank account. So really, it doesn't matter how much Leeds have brought in for the player as long as they replace him properly. And that needs to be done. What I'd hate to see us do is do what clubs do when they get a big fee for a player. And that's buy 3 or 4 players to replace that one player, because it never works out. Look at Spurs when they sold Gareth Bale. They brought in 5. All of them were gone within 3-4 years, bar one who hung on to his contract and went for free. So go spend the money on a quality player that will get us out of this division. We cannot be here again next year. And you've got time now. You've got a week. Also, Summerville didn't start in any of the preseason games, so they've been working without him. They've been planning without him. So there should be a plan in place for the first week or two of the season as well. So just get the right player in. If they can get somebody in of a decent level before the weekend, and this is the thing, Joe, this is where we have to now, the 30 to 40 million was the bracket they always said was the fee. They want 30 to 40 million. Looks like they've gotten that with add-ons. But they've also said, and Farkas said this, and the 49ers have said this, and it's on record, we have solutions in place should anyone go.
Yeah.
We now need to see that in action.
Yeah, we do. 100%. There's a few comments I want to get. Big up to Lee Bromley, who's just become a member. Paul G says, I do not care what Cree wanted. Only thing that matters is Leeds. At this rate, we'll be in ground before we win out. But Paul, I mean, we won the championship, not too distant past. We'll probably win it this year. I won't throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. Alex Gaming, it is if you put Leeds United The View, that's the best way to get it. Leeds United The View. Thank you, JB Jackson, as well, who's almost at a year now of being a member. Big up to you, my man. I'm just looking as well at some of the fees. I wish they were in euros so I could quickly convert it. But
I'll do it.
Romeo Lavia went for 62 million euros. James Maddison.
51.
James Maddison went for 46. Nathan Ake, 45, Harvey Barnes, 44, 30. Archie Gray, 41. These are top-level players that are playing at the top of the division. Livramento, 37. Sissoko from Watford to Tottenham, 35. James Ward-Prowse, 34. João Pedro, 34. Ollie Watkins, 34. Jude Bellingham, 30. Jordan Pickford, 28 from Sunderland. Ramsdale, 28. Ben Godfrey, Wijnaldum from Newcastle, 27. Even
knock about 7 million off each of them for your pounds price.
Yeah. So I mean, he's in the same ballpark as like Tyler Adams went for 26.9.
So got more than that.
Right, so we got more than
€26.9 is about
Right.
£19.5 million, £20 million.
Right, okay. So we're looking at the similar sort of price as what, say, a Jude Bellingham at 30. Is that what we're saying? Around that. Ollie Watkins went for 34. I'm just trying to see, like, were we expecting too much? I'm quite.
Maybe we were.
I'm relaxed about Summerville going. Look, and even Jers maintained this. I think a lot of us have that he was going to go.
Yeah.
And I think we allowed ourselves to get carried away with this 40 million. I think, you know.
Well, we saw it 30 to 40, and you automatically go, 40 would be nice. 40 would be nice, wouldn't it? And then it's 40, and it's 40, and now it's just 40.
Yeah. And I think as well, like obviously 10 days ago, West Ham initially made the inquiry, went away, and we thought they'd moved on. Even TalkSport went with...
This morning.
This morning saying...
I did this morning saying that there's loads of TalkSport said they're done. They've got 20 million, that's all they're going to pay, they're walking away. So,
they're
I mean,
walking away.
If you do talk about Leeds playing hardball, it might not be the hardest of ball, but if they said they offered 20, Leeds said no. And they came back with 25 plus add-ons to make it a structured deal to 30.
Yeah.
So that's kind of worked as a negotiation tactic. It's not 40, but it's 30.
Here's a worry from my perspective, Joe. And you probably heard me talking about it. But if I'm interested in Willie Gnonto, and I've just seen they've sold the key man for 25 plus add-ons, that then alerts me and goes, oh, hang on. Why don't we stick 20 million on Gnonto and see what happens? Do you know what I mean? And we've still got a month left of this window, and that's what's worrying. Same with Rutter. And his best mate's gone, yeah.
I fully expect Max Forward to be gone by the start of the end of the window.
I seen you. Where did I see you?
Yeah. Gladbach's sporting director's been chatting about him again and said they're not done with it. They're just holding right now, that they want to go back. And some players like Max Forward become available late.
I seen you short. Yeah, go on, talk to me about that. Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah. Well, it ties in with the Gnonto thing as well, and possibly Rutter. The Gladbach sporting director said in a recent interview that their planning right now still includes Max Forward, but their plans are on hold. And that sometimes players like Max Forward can become available again late in the window, but negotiations with Leeds are difficult, and Leeds don't want a loan. But he may still become available before the end of the window, which would suggest to me they're still sniffing, and he still wants to talk to him. He still wants to go. So I expect him to go. Willie has lost his best mate from the club, and then maybe Willie will go, I don't want to be here. I kind of was kind of happy to stay, but now I kind of want to go. You know, they're never not beside each other. You know, when you see all the videos in the club, they're now always together. So he could go. Yeah. Assuming there's someone to buy him of a level of that, even 15 million, because Everton have spent a lot of money in the last couple of weeks and don't have a huge amount of money coming back in, and have an FFP situation as well. The only thing, Willie, that I'm okay with is that maybe the 49ers have these price brackets for all of the players, and one doesn't influence the other one. So if you go back to last season, Burnley offered 20 million for Gnonto, and Leeds went, no, go away. Everton came in, 20 million, no, go away. Everton came in again, no, go away. So if you look at last season again, Burnley are supposedly put a £20 million bid in for Cree last year, but it's 25 plus add-ons up to 30 this year. So there's an additional 10, including add-ons. Leeds could just do the exact same thing with Gnonto going, we told you last year he wasn't available for 20. You can have him for 25. I think if you got 20 million for Willie Gnonto, it's a really good fee for a player that didn't have a fantastic year last year. And I think Willie's performances would have dropped his price, not necessarily selling Cree at a cheaper price. So I think they're the things to more worry about Willie. But now Willie might have an opportunity to play in his preferred position and playing the side that he wants to play on, and maybe be the Crysencio Summerville next season. Because
you can
remember,
sell him that as well, right? You can sell him that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want this, buddy, the more we sell you for, the more you get him a signing on fee as well. Don't forget that. So if you hang on, do what he did last year, which you're more than capable of, wait and see. But again, I think the option will be Georgie Rutter will go out there and he'll go and play in the position we bought him to play in, which is wide.
It's true. I didn't know this, but apparently they live together as well. Is that true, lads and lasses? I didn't know that.
Shocked at all. Not anymore, they don't.
Well, no, yeah, exactly. Not anymore. Unless
he's looking for a house, mate.
Not Gnonto's looking for a place in London as well. You never know. I'm not sure. Crystal Palace, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, Raksaki, and we just did a little switchy.
Yeah, well, I did do a video this morning though, Jen. Said on the Raksaki stuff, the only way he was going to come is if one of them left. Otherwise, why would he?
That was all of them. Yeah, you're bang. But that's all of the players Leeds have been linked with. Like Leeds weren't adding any new players outside of CM and a right back.
Yeah.
Outside of that, Leeds weren't looking at anybody else.
Yeah.
No, they said they had solutions for this and it was going to happen. So I mean, the other thing with this is, and Raksaki might be the exact thing. You might not. Leeds kind of just pulling a name out of the hat that we just weren't
100%.
expecting. They've done it before.
Yeah.
But it's. I said this on Luke's show as well, the Orno Bear show. It's not about the amount of money you spend on the players; it's about the player you get. Like Ethan Ampadu is not a marquee signing, but if you look back at his performances last season, you could say he was, because look at what he put in. Look what he did on the pitch for Leeds. Joe Rodon the same, like not a marquee signing, pretty cheap, 10 million, but look what he did on the pitch last year.
Yeah.
Massively important players. So Leeds could go off and do some really smart business. Leeds could kick the can down the road 12 months with this. And they could, because Raksaki is not being bought by anybody. They don't want to sell him, ideally. They want him, they value him as a future player. You get him on loan for the season. A really good player that would do really well in this division. Really, really well in this division.
Yeah, 100%.
And you kick it down the line till you get promoted, and then you spend the big money on the big winger that you really want. Yeah. And now you can appeal to a different audience of winger.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I seen some people say, like, no, I want us to spend that, but if you can go get Raksaki, then you're saving that money in a sense, aren't you? And then
you're banking it and holding it.
100%. Because the markup on Summerville's insane as well. Regardless of what fee, we paid 1.5 million for him, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you're selling him for 25 minimum.
But don't forget, we paid 35 million on Jorginho Rutter in the Premier League, and nobody thought he was worth that by the end of this Premier League season. Everyone thought we'd wasted that money, and that was a huge chunk of change that we put on him.
Yeah,
huge chunk. So it's not always about money; it's about value, and value doesn't always necessarily mean cheap. It means quality. It means getting something that you value at the end of it. And like, we didn't buy Crysencio Summerville for $1.5 million and think we would be in the situation 3 years later or 4 years later where it's like, this player is an amazing player and worth a huge amount of money and making a massive profit. We thought we'd get something back on him. I don't necessarily think they thought this, but it's just about replacing you're not going to replace his goals and assists. You're not. But now you need to get them from other places on the park. So you need to move this jigsaw around a bit to get the picture that you want.
Yeah. I just want to look. I'm just playing devil's advocate as well, folks. I understand people are pissed off, but Jamie, when you say saving it for what we might even go up, okay. So if you go and spend 25 million on a player and you don't go up, you're even in a worse situation.
You're screwed next year. It's fire sale territory.
Exactly.
Don't this year.
So it works the other way as well. And what I would say in response to this, Danny, what had Summerville done in his career before this? Nothing.
He came out of Feyenoord's academy.
Nothing. So again, to be fair, Raksaki spent time on loan, I think, at Charlton in League One, did really, really well. Clubs in the Championship wanted him last season. Palace said stick around, didn't get game time. That's why this season he's like, no, I want to play. And that's why he's not gone on the
want to pay 15 million for him.
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
He's a top target for them, and they want him in the Premier League. Sorry.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said about. No, it's totally fine, mate.
It's not just Leeds looking at the player. Like that's a valid point. If it was just Leeds, 100% valid point. But if you look at the clubs, there's top teams in the Championship. Look, there's 18 clubs in the Championship. You've got an echo, haven't you?
Yeah. My. Hang on.
1 second. It's me.
It's not. It's me, bro. It's me.
Oh, is it?
Can you hear me?
I can hear it. I can hear it. Yeah. I was gone. No, it's not.
Wait. I think I'm back. That. My mouse and everything. Hang on. It's my Hang on. Speak for me.
Hello. Gone.
Yes, we're back.
Great.
We're back.
My
connectors on my Mac are knackered, so when you charge your brakes and you have to put it a certain way, if that knocks off, then it just knocks everything off. I'm like, I don't touch it.
Go play charger.
Yeah, exactly.
It says me who's got a USB charger plugged into my sitting room with the top of it completely hanging off. I'm like, that's fine. I'll get another couple of weeks out of it. And with the Raksaki stuff, as I said, Danny's comments is perfectly legitimate if Leeds were the only club that were interested in this player. And assuming that all of the scouts and all of the management within 18 Championship clubs who want him, 18 want him on loan, and you've got Premier League clubs. I think when you bring all of them into the conversation, I think they know as a group what they're talking about, and that suggests there's a player in there of some serious talent. And the benefit for us is Palace want him to go to the Championship on loan.
Yep.
They don't want to sell him to a team in the Premier League, and Southampton are willing to pay up to 15 million right now as an opening to try and get the player. And so, there's clearly clubs that want them, and they don't want them for no reason. They've done their homework on it,
100%. I think it's important to point out as well on this, right, folks? And again, just playing devil's advocate, and I think it's fair conversation. We all remember what happened when Pontus Jansson left and was replaced by a young up-and-coming upstart called Benjamin White. and everyone were the same. Oh, no, you can't do that. That now guy is at Arsenal competing for Premier
£60 million
League.
player.
A £60 million player competing for Premier Leagues and major honours and playing Champions League, and probably was missed from the Euros. Do you know what I mean? So we have to take these things into consideration. It's not like, oh, we need proving, oh, we can't do this, because look, we got rid of Janssen, who was like the guy for a lot of fans, and replaced him with Ben White, and look what happened there. Big up to Solomon, member and a Chelsea fan. He says, big up Joe, sad to see Summerville going to West Ham. Wanted him, yeah. I'm quite surprised that Chelsea or Liverpool didn't have a sniff, but maybe they just felt it was a little bit too much for a player that's not going to be their main guy. It looks at West Ham, they need someone on that left-hand side, and he's going to get that. And do you know, just on the move to West Ham, to play alongside Lucas Paqueta, Mohamed Kudus, Fulcrook up top, Alvarez, all these players, it's a very good move for Summerville, isn't it? Very good move.
Good play. My hope with this was always, and was similar to the Archie situation when Brentford moved for him first and tried to get in ahead of everybody else, that would be the domino that would knock the rest of them. That as soon as someone went, there's some money, Liverpool, Chelsea would jump on it. I wanted Chelsea to get involved in this because Chelsea will spend silly money on players. So you might have got 45 million for him if a bidding war had started, but it didn't. And the player himself clearly wanted this move after speaking to Lopetegui, and that's the end of it. Leeds have said it. If we can get the valuation that we want, structured or unstructured, and you want to go, fair enough. We're not going to keep you around the club.
We know now, thinking a week back, thinking to when the inquiry was first made, he clearly wasn't injured. He clearly wasn't injured. This was very much, let's protect you from getting injured. And he's probably said, I don't really want to play because this move's on the cards. And
So let's go make kayaks and jump in the water.
That's a good point to make. As well.
And go-karting, which I thought, the second I saw the go-karting clips, was like, whose idea was that? They need to be brought away from the club and not make these decisions. That's a terrible idea. Look, West Ham weren't going to lose out on their potential player. Right? They would have said to Leeds, look, we're going to come back to you. We'll talk about this further, but in the meantime, wrap him in cotton wool because we're not buying him if he's injured.
Yeah, exactly. And Ryan, I agree with you. I've said, I still maintain, because the facts are, Ryan, we all said, and I said this with Connor on Tuesday, if you shut the window now without getting a left back and an 8 but keeping Summerville, we'd all be happy because the squad is better. Yes, but now you're losing Summerville. So now replace Summerville and get your left back and an 8 and we'll still be okay.
Done.
I understand everyone goes, look at the numbers, we can't replace him, da-da-da-da. But now we have to look at the whole squad. You're going to get more goals from Rothwell. Right, we've seen Gruev even getting ahead of the striker at times. So there's tactical tweaks happening. Joseph is now firing on all cylinders. You've got Aaron. You've got all these players now to add into the mix. Plus, you go and get a Summerville. Now, I'm not convinced, and I'm a bit like you, Joe. I don't think we need another left winger.
Not necessarily if George is going to go out there. And I would like
to
see Georgie.
You've got Aronson, you've got James, you've got Nonto. If Nonto stays, that's 4.
And if we do go to the 3-4-3 system that he played against Harrogate, which is very possible, he's tried out 2 systems, then you don't necessarily need a Cree because it's a different system. It's 3 inside players. You need 10s now, not wide players, and Leeds could probably do another 10. So that might take that box. But we just don't know what they're going to do. Jerry McDermott made a really good point on Twitter. I read this out earlier on, but I think it's worth bearing in mind when you're thinking about what we're doing. Last year, Nick Hammond, he said, brought in Ethan Ampadu, Ilya Gruev, Glenn Kamara, Joe Rodon, and Sam Byram. He knows what he's doing. Trust it. Give it time. Wait and see. And that it's just a bit of faith that's needed. But faith takes so long to build up with a fan base. It really does. And because of the Archie thing and the Red Bull thing, every time the 49ers make any kind of progress, it gets hit by something. They have, and Gilly's right, and he said it earlier on, they've made some very good decisions on the pitch, but they've made some very bad decisions as well. And there needs to be a balancing of that over the next year or so, but we need to see them come out with something.
See, this isn't right, Jamie, because James and Nonto can play on either side. We saw that last season. Nonto probably
prefers
better
to play on the left.
Yeah.
He prefers to play on the left. Yeah.
Rutter's also played on either flank, and Aronson can. So it's not as like, just we've got 2 right wingers and no one else. It's not like that at all.
And bearing in mind, Cree always came in onto his right foot anyway.
Yeah.
Cree's move is down the left, tuck in, shoot. You know, and that there's a level of Arjen Robben is the prime example of that because he made a career out of cutting in and shooting and scoring. And every time I watched him playing, I'd say, why don't defenders just go, he's going to cut inside. He clearly doesn't want to cross. Let him go down the flank and cross the ball because he can't. don't let him come inside, but he still managed to do it. There's no guarantee Cree will be able to do it in the Premier League against top-class defenders. No guarantee. He might, but there's no guarantee just yet. So everyone that's saying whoever comes in might not be the right guy or hasn't got a proven track record, Crysencio Summerville does not have a proven track record in the Premier League right now.
Yeah.
And when we were there, Willie Gnonto was playing on the left and was doing well for us in the Premier League. So,
let me just address this. So 2 weeks ago, if you remember, we had the squad graphic up. We had 2 centre backs. We had Firpo. We had no right back because we didn't have Bogle at the time as well when I was saying all this. We had Rothwell, Gruev, Ampadu, Summerville, Gnonto, but we were like discounting them at times. We weren't sure on Joseph, etc. Now, having seen pre-season, you have Bogle, you have Vorba, you have Rodon, you have James De Bayo, we weren't even considering. You have Strauch, you have Firpo. You've then had a look at Rothwell and gone, okay, yeah, this looks really good. You've then added in, you know, Rutter, Aronson, as we've seen in pre-season, the options now are aplenty, you know, so it's not as bad as I first envisaged. Like I've said to you, had we shut the window today, I'd be happy. And that's without an additional left-back and a centre midfielder. But I still want us to go get them. So, you know, when you look at the graphic that Joe Donoghue had almost 2 weeks ago, like I could go find it and we can compare it with then and now. Again, you're allowed to change your opinion. It's chalk and cheese because we didn't even know at that point that Vorba was sticking around, if you remember. And then Farke said it and we were like, oh, okay. And then we seen the back three and we're going, oh my God, if this back three, this is fine. We're actually doing well. So I think it's unfair to me there. But yeah, it is what it is. My opinion changes like the wind. It is what it is. Yeah, don't have to defend, but yeah, exactly.
Do you know what? It's worse if you double down in the bunker and the Trill trying to push the same narrative a year later when all the facts suggest differently, and you're still like the Farke out stuff. Like everything suggests that last year he's a really good manager at this level, but there's still a group of people that want him out, even though the facts would suggest he's probably the best guy to have in charge right now. But they've made that decision very early on, and that decision has to be stuck to. Yeah. The facts change, and your facts have changed, and you've changed your mind. I've changed my mind on stuff as well. Like I want 45 million for Cree, didn't get it. 30 million, fine. As long as the replacement comes in. If we get a decent, we bring in 3 players between now and the end of the window that are of a decent level that fill the gaps that we have. That's a really good. I mean, already that bench looks better than it did last year, even without Cree.
Yeah, it does. You know? That's what I'm saying. You know, like we've spoken about it before, Joe. In the playoff final, we didn't have one midfielder on the bench. Right, by the numbers that we've got, and again, this is when I talk about the squad, you're going to have Aronson, you're going to have one of Rothwell or Gruev on the bench. You've already got options there. You're going to have then players that he will be able to use and rely on. Bamford's probably going to ride bench. Could Pirro ride bench? Because it depends who's going to be your 3. It might be James, Rutter, Gnonto, Joseph. So then you've got Bamford, Pirro, De Bayo, one of Rothwell, you know what I mean. So they're at Byram as well. And Kean, I'm not saying I'm happy with that. Of course, I want us to get the left back, but we were just making a set of saying, do you know what? Actually,
we will.
All that outcry by me, as like I was quite an advocate. Actually, Joe, it wasn't needed because when you look at it now after pre-season, you're going, okay, the squad's all right. And if you could keep Summerville and Gnonto, then I would shut it down. But obviously, now Summerville's going to go, so he needs replacing. And I still want us to go get that left back, and I still want us to get that number 8. Because ideally, you don't want Rothwell starting. Although, maybe some of us have actually come round to that, having seen him play. Because initially, we're going, nah, he won't be the Kamara replacement. They want another. And I wasn't convinced at the time, and having seen him play, I don't think people would actually be that bothered if he was the starter, because he's looked really good. He has looked really good, hasn't he? He has. More will be revealed, Joe. And what will happen is Leeds United will push the narrative. We're getting 35. West Ham will say they're paying 25. You know how it works, and it'll be somewhere
every
in between.
Fan base is happy.
100%. But ultimately, I think it's going to be 25 with add-ons that could take us 30, maybe a little bit more than that. And if the add-ons are achievable, and at the end of the season we get promoted, we can look at it and say, do you know what? We pulled in 30 million, we got promoted, we replaced him, is what it is.
We know, Joe, that the ownership that we have right now has money they can't spend in the Championship because of PSR, but they can to get into the Premier League, right? Yeah. So, ultimately, none of this matters if they bring in a proper replacement and we get promoted. Then this doesn't matter. And again, I say it again. Somebody made a very good point of saying, "But what if we'd sold Cree for 7 and bought Jack Clark for 4?" You know what I mean? Like, great. So selling Cree for 25 and buying Jack Clark for 20. So what?
Yeah.
You know, if you get you promoted, it's not our money. It's not going in our bank accounts. We shouldn't be emotionally attached to it. When Leeds had no money, that was a situation where you're like, yeah, we need all the money we can get because we haven't got a penny. You know, it's not the way it is anymore. And I think people will feel very differently if it works out this way. And I think the 49ers behind closed doors will have their fingers crossed and toes crossed and going, fingers crossed we got this one right. But time will tell if they've gotten it right. But they've said, and Farke has been, last year we talked about transfers, Farke wouldn't tell us anything. He wouldn't go into it. This year, out straight, he has said fullback, centre mid. And if some players, he said, if big players leave, they will be replaced with players of a similar profile. So that's what we have to wait and see now. If they back that up and they bring in a look, and I saw you mention Jack Clark beforehand. I know I may have said some stuff about Jack when he left Leeds, like, don't ever come back. I would bite your hand off to get Jack Clark back in the Leeds United shirt and playing on that side of the pitch, and then put Nanto on the left and put Jack on the right, you know, and then just go nuts.
Can I ask? Did you hear me say this at any point during the stream?
I said they might kick the can down the road 12 months and bring in Raksaki now and then replace Summerville in 12 months' time.
Did I say that? That we don't think we need to replace him. I don't think I've ever said that, Paul, ever.
No, you say don't need to replace a winger necessarily, which means it could be a 10. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Georgie becomes the winger. You've got James. I still think Leeds might do a sneaky winger loan before the end of the window anyway, with a younger loan player to have, like Jaden Anthony's role last year that can come off the bench and play a few minutes. I still think that towards the very end of the window, you might see Leeds dip in by bringing in 1 or 2 loan players.
Yeah. Time will tell. But ideally, we want a player in by
Valencia.
Well, not even by Valencia. I'll give them saving grace. It's Thursday tomorrow. It's probably unlikely before Saturday. But by next week. Before the start of the season, ideally we want a left back. But then again, no, because you've said it before, we're probably waiting on some loans as well. I don't see Leeds United actually buying a left back. I think they go and get a loan from the Premier League for someone who can... Because you're not going to buy someone who's not going to start over Firpo, do you? So you get a loan there. I just hope, my main worry is they don't replace Summerville. They look at Rothwell and go, we're happy with him as our starting 8. And then they get a loan for a left back and then we're going, we've left ourselves too light. Ideally now we need 3, right, Joe? We need 3. Yep. Left back, CM, right now we need Summerville. 3. Summerville replacement. Doesn't have to be a winger, but just someone that's going to come, if it's a 10, even if it's a striker, just someone that's going to do that. That's what we need. But we'll cover it. Joe, you'll be doing your Leeds United View news tomorrow. I think tomorrow night I'm doing a scouting report with Lockie and Andrea looking at Summerville replacements. We actually discussed it before this news, so it's quite handy that it's fallen like this. So we'll see what gems they've got across Europe. But I've got a sneaky suspicion they'll stay in the Championship. They'll go big like they did with Pirot, I think.
Who's your preference, Joe? Ignore Raksaki for a second because that's a loan. If Leeds were to spend some money on a replacement for Summerville right now, who would you go? Who would you want?
See, you know me, I quite like the return of Jack Clark. I quite like the return of Jack Clark and coming home and let's get to the Premier League and all that sort of stuff. Johnny Rose, obviously fantastic. Morgan Whittaker's unreal. Listen, I'd love Sarah, but it's not
a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't think it's the right profile.
I think if it's a 10, it is, but it's apparently they've turned down 17 million quid from Turkey. You know, from that club in Turkey. Yeah.
What about that mad tweet that said 6 million we bid? I was like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, crazy. But Morgan Whittaker.
Leeds bid about between 5 and 6 million 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago it was. Apparently they bid. We only found out this week it came out. And then the same report said that Galatasaray were interested and they should spend the 17 million asking price and just go and get him. And then there was a second report that came out that went, they did, and it was rejected. So he's going for over 17 million euro. So 15 million pounds. If Leeds could get him, fine. Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that, by the way.
It really doesn't.
It really doesn't. If anything, what this does is makes the Sharks come out of the water a little bit more and they go, hang on, what's this? Do you know what I mean? And the Jaws music starts coming. Jamie, I understand you're annoyed, you're angry and all that sort of stuff. But we can't just go and spend money just because we got it. Because if we don't go up, then we're up shit creek again. Do you know what I mean?
Jamie, go look up who Spurs bought with the 100 million they got for Gareth Bale.
Oh man, I remember that. Yeah, crazy.
And they're not the only club that have done that.
Nasser Chadley, I remember. Was Soldado one of them? Lamella. Yeah. There were some mad ones. Yeah, they were not great.
Didn't work out at all.
They were bad,
and most of them left for free.
Yeah, crazy. Listen, we'll see. I think they'll get us a marquee name though. Hopefully, we'll have to wait and see. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No.
Just
chill. Wait and see what happens next week. Yeah. Better he went now than on deadline day.
100%. Agree. Tranquillo, Joe's back. How long that will last, we'll wait and see. But listen, over 1,000 people tonight. Over 1,000 people tonight, which is insane. So big up to you all. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you check out Leeds United The View. Pulling in on 50k now, surely. Where you at?
44. But it'll stop once the window closes.
There you go. Make sure you go check out.
Any day I don't do a transfer, I get told, "Where's the news?" It's like, this is what's going to happen when the transfer window closes. There's going to be no transfer news, so it's going to be like
you have to go like. There's been a new head steward employed at Leeds United.
The new groundsman with new advertising board going in next week. Yeah,
exactly. So big up everyone, and I'll see you all tomorrow at some point.